You and me are gonna make a movie together one day. Just you and I, and it's gonna be a masterpiece.
The action begins at the scene of the accident. A bus overturned and caused the deaths of many people, who either lost limbs or were burned alive. A video camera has been seized in evidence, which will most likely contain some kind of recording, and we will know the details of the past events. Detective Alex tries to convince the media that everything is under control, and behind the scenes it turns out that not only can the police not recognize the bodies, they can't even figure out what gender they are. Alex meets Reese, a troubled detective who is supposed to be on vacation right now altogether. But after a lot of persuasion, Alex lets him on the case. The expert is already dealing with 4 cameras with 3 hours of video footage saved. We also learn that there are 2 survivors, but after such burns and lacerations on the head and neck, they may give wrong testimony. The cameras, in turn, will never lie. The video began as an improv documentary with Len,
is a man that holds the power of God. That is true greatness.
And a director named Rachel. Len only dreamed of this life of moving out of her parents and self-improvement alongside her best friend. Len's main goal was to become an inimitable actress and conquer Hollywood. Even speaking in small halls, she won the attention of the audience. But her boyfriend Tyler once proposed marriage on stage and she refused. However, her friend advised her to record a video message that they sent to Tyler, because without it there would be no trip to Las Vegas. On the day of the scheduled trip, right before the bus leaves, a disgruntled Tyler arrives and Len tries her best to apologize to the guy. Because she loves him, she just doesn't want the marriage.
Can't fix this with editing.
I can fix anything with editing.
The next passenger is Vicky, a Russian-born dancer who is on her way to a show where she may be invited to perform in the circus. The girls notice a gift in her bag, about which she tells only that it is for her son, and what is inside is too personal. New passenger Steven shows his companions tricks, but the police are interested in something else. Because of the burned-out frames on the bus, a woman appeared literally out of thin air with a bag of cash. They managed to approximate her last name on the army bag and sent out requests to look for discharged military personnel. The footage goes on to show Rachel asking the driver why they took this path and not the road. The answer is simple: there is a passenger at Kidwell's and the road is the only one. But the unknown woman actually attacks our director for filming, and the next thing you know the bus is overturned. When everyone gets out of the car, the cause of the incident is revealed. It was a barbed wire that the driver did not notice and it skidded into a ditch. The company finds an abandoned town where the driver manages to find a landline, but he will need light to repair it. Vicky offers to open a present for her son and it turns out to be a camera, but worse than Rachel's, which is probably why she didn't want to show it to the girls. Driver Ben teases Rachel and asks her to gather everyone here before it gets dark, and he goes to the phone. Rachel went to explore the buildings looking for Len, but suddenly the lights came on and a bloodied Steven ran out of the room and Len spotted a silhouette in the distance and everyone ran into the building. The last name information from the bag of money: Gerald Fleischman, formerly Sergeant. Gerald had been in trouble since Iraq, treated in a mental institution for a year, but his wife, Katrina Fleischman, closed her husband's $90,000 account just 2 days ago. Ben's camera didn't notice anything unusual except his failure to fix the phone until the screen went dark, and then the footage started up on the girl's behalf, who tried to reach for the flare gun, but someone started hitting her from behind and then started burning her body with a torch. Reese, knowing the intricacies of video recording and processing, managed to change the recording and see in the reflection of the mirror not the face of our villain, but a welder's mask. After which Alex immediately mistook Gerald Fleischman for the culprit, whose motive was to steal money from his own wife, so forced Reese to look for evidence while she will pour shame on him in every line of the press. Reese continues to search for evidence, and Rachel's footage shows the company closing in the building and decides to send Ben and Rachel, who has night vision mode on her camera, to the bus for possible parts and tools for the phone. They reach the bus where Ben remembers he had a flare gun, but he forgot. The glass of the bus breaks a rock and Ben gets out to check, but a few moments later she sees he's dead. Rachel had to lay low, but the maniac knew she was inside and started making holes, so she ran back to the guys. Vicky told her that Len had gone off with Tyler to look for her but would be back soon. The girl reassured Rachel and decided to speak out about her fate. After her divorce from her husband, her son was choosing between her and his dad, but ended up choosing his father. She was at their house yesterday and was hesitant to give her gift, but Katrina notices a maniac outside and he starts firing a flare gun. So the girls escape to another building where they find Len, who has already managed to lose Tyler. Katrina tells the camera that she knows why he is here. The girls think she knows something, but she decides to single-handedly change the course of events and leaves the company with a bag of money. And the girls spot a rocket launcher with the help of a night shooting and decide to send Vicky after her. Rachel immediately thinks the idea is stupid, but Len only gives her a Tyler ring for good luck. But that doesn't help her much, because the killer beats her, cuts off her arm and leg, and then smokes her right in front of the girls, after which he heads towards them. But the girls made maximum silence and he temporarily left them, as immediately Ben appeared, who was not dead at all. The maniac stabbed him in the back and left him for dead. But our hero is not going to die so easily, so he took the wires with him to fix the phone. Reese's partner Gabe checked Katrina's camera footage and found something interesting there. But Alex came back and reported that they had already sent an assault team to Gerald, who had been living in the hotel room for a week. Together they watched the tape of Katrina, who already knew they would be watched by the police and asked to be buried next to her husband. The SWAT team rushes in and finds him dead at this time. The camera then moves on to the killer, who finds Katrina, who had been unbearably waiting for him and showering him with money. But when he lifted his mask, she recognized him and he slits her throat without letting him say the last word. Alex dials the officer and reports that Gerald has been dead for over a week from a gunshot to the mouth. He left a note asking his wife to withdraw money from the account and party in Vegas. The next note is the killer's threats, which he wrote in blood, quote, "Fear me as you fear God." The detectives understand that he is playing with them and knew they would be watching this tape, but they don't understand how he could have planned all of this because there were completely different people on the bus. However, Alex was embarrassed by the moment with the driver, whom she asked to get a full dossier and asked to turn on the tape of the girls. Ben asked them to follow him, but they saw blood and found Catherine's mutilated body, after which they did obey Ben and ran into another building. But their Len was grabbed and she begged them to run away, but they were trapped and Ben collapsed from blood loss. Rachel removed the wires from his arm and went to repair the phone, but the killer showed up and she had to dodge him. But a gas leak caused an explosion and threw her into the street. The man of course survived and beat the girl and then roasted her as well. But when he got ready to take the mask off, the tape jammed. According to Gabe, that's all they have. But Reese recalls the last tape. There, Steven is doing a monologue addressing his mother, whom he loves very much. But out the window, he notices Tyler and Len arguing about how she won't marry him, calling him a loser, and after Tyler notices Steven and comes out to him, the tape cuts off. Gabe realizes that there should be a memory card with a sequel, but there isn't one. Suddenly, Reese notices a video on TV in which Steven is brutally murdered. Most likely, all the videos they watched and uploaded to the server have been hacked by someone and handed over to the media. Alex is immediately called to the boss and Gabe leaves to deal with the servers, leaving Reese alone. But when they bring him the data on Ben, who is actually a different name, his file already includes a bank robbery in which 2 people died, and then Reese realizes something. At this time a victim is brought to the station, Len, who managed to mysteriously survive the attack. When Reese sees the girl in person, he tries to make a connection first, telling her how his little daughter went missing when he turned away for a few minutes, and 6 months later her body was found near a gas station, so he wants to help others protect them from the kind of horror Len experienced. The girl struggles to tell that when she entered the building, she turned around and Ben was gone, but when someone grabbed her, she did not see who it was, and when she awoke only saw Rachel struggling with the killer. So she decided to save herself and broke the window and escaped, but she distinctly remembered that before she escaped Steven was alive and trying to scream, but the cough wouldn't let him. Reese instantly leaves the office and comes to the pathologist. Reese realizes that the killer tried to burn all the bodies at once, but Steven was alive and trying to either escape or hide something, and his guess was right. He finds a memory card in his mouth. The data was corrupted, but Reese was able to recover it. And it turned out to be Tyler, whose motive for the murders was heartbreak. Alex has already informed the press of all the accusations against the guy, whose life doctors are now fighting for. And Reese calmly communicates with Gabe, but notices that during the interference, the time code doesn't go off, which means it's not interference, but editing. After Len leaves the station, the network instantly circulates video clips from the filming of the movie in which the killers are Rachel and Len, who absolutely perfectly set up all these events to fulfill their promise to make a masterpiece movie. In this way, the girls decided to surpass all the most intricate thrillers and become famous across America in one day. Please support the channel with your likes and subscribe. Our goal is 10,000 subscribers. We are trying very hard just to reduce your time in watching movies. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I won't say goodbye.